how's it going? My name is Harrison Lin.
Jane Chuck, Jane.
So our project is Job Outlook and the Unpaid Internships. So I'm going to do a little quick introduction about the two different articles we had. The first article talks more about unpaid internships. It's called No One Should Have to Work for Free. Is this the end of the unpaid internship by Nona Willis Aronovitz? She basically talks about how the graduate students don't enjoy the unpaid internships. And she also talks about how there's solutions being formed to stop the demand for unpaid internships. The second article that we'll talk about talks a little bit about unpaid internships, but it talks more about job outlooks. It's Generation Debt, Millennials Battle Persistent Debt, and Jobless Woes. These two students right here, they're from UT Austin School of Journalism. They teamed up with the Dallas Morning News. What they did was they spent a few months examining the millennial generation with the unemployment rate, the debt issues, and they tried tying that with the higher education. I'm gonna pass it on to Jane. She'll talk about the first one.
So, No One Should Work for Free, the first article basically talks about how it's difficult to get rid of unpaid internships. For instance, nonprofit organizations hire their interns as volunteers, and which they don't also receive a lot of funding to be able to pay for them. Also, a system in place, co-ops. It basically, students basically work as an intern for uh, credit hours, so they don't get paid for it. And also a lot of universities are now requiring you to have internships in order to graduate. UTD, I believe, added this program into their degree plan for 2014 starting, and UT Austin has been doing it as well. Personal story, I actually did an internship at a nonprofit organization, and I was obviously not paid, but it did hinder me from wanting to achieve more with the amount of work that they were giving me in that sense, because there wasn't much compensation or reward. And also, in 2012, there was a study done based on unpaid internships, mainly our working class. 77% are women, and they range an average of age from 17 to 25. A lot of people assume that interns are only current students, so they do not need they do not need much income to take care of their family. But in reality, it actually goes up to mid-20s, which people around that age have to have income in order to survive. Also, two interns that did a production Black Swan filed a lawsuit because they weren't getting paid enough, and the court favored with them, and since then 20 more lawsuits emerged. But there are still a lot of spectacle. People are actually scared to even sue or voice their rights because it could ruin their reputation. Once an intern or student ruins their reputation, it will cost them their whole career within that field. And also, they can lose their connections that they had built while working. And it is also very expensive to file a lawsuit. Mikey Franklin, the co-founder of Fair Pay, advised that interns should be paid educational and advertised openly. Paid at least minimum wage so that students are motivated to work harder and achieve more. And educational to actually teach the students what their job will be in the real business world, rather than just filing, making copies, or giving out coffee. And advertise openly basically suggests that it's open to the public, not an internship for only the CEO's nephews or close connections. And I will pass it over to Jimmy.
So if you look at this chart right here, it shows the biggest financial concerns of millennials. And as you can see, it shows that student loans is going to be about 1/3 of the biggest financial concerns. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it shows that Americans ages 18 to 24 are about 10% less likely to have a job now than they were a decade ago. And according to the Economic Policy Institute, it also states that Americans 25 years and under are idling which means that they're either not looking for a job or they're not going to school. It shows that it has risen from 14.5% to about 18.1%. And also, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, a recent study shows that we are $1 trillion in student loans when about 8 years ago it was $461 billion. And then the article I read, it shows that the millennial struggle recently is that college-age millennials, they face difficulties in finding a job at this moment. And it showed one girl specifically. They were talking about Hannah Tripathi. She is a 2013 graduate from University of Southwestern in Georgetown. She is working 2 jobs currently, and she works 70 hours per week, and yet she is still struggling. She lives off of food stamps to buy groceries. She's struggling to find a job. And it shows that millennials are struggling in this competitive job market at this day because employers are favoring experience more than they're favoring skills. And it's harder for us to find jobs, especially since we don't have that experience. I'll pass off to you.
Alright, so Demos is actually a Washington think tank. So in March 2014, they said that 49 states actually spend less per student for higher education. And since then, 28 of the states have actually cut per student funding by around 25%. And if you do the math, if you cut student funding, it's going to lead to increased rate of tuition, which then leads to incur more and more debt just for tuition. In 2008, the average tuition actually did increase by 20%. So one question where some people are wondering, how much are we paying now for school? UTD in 2010, I did a little research. Average tuition per year is roughly around $9,400. And then 5 years later, right now 2015, the average tuition per year is around $11,600. So within 5 years, it increased by almost $3,000. If you do the math right now, the freshmen coming in right now are basically paying for a full extra year as well. So economic ripple. The two guys that created the second article talked about the debt, unemployment rate, and the low wages that the millennial generation is incurring. He basically said that it's doing a ripple effect through the economy. What they say is since people don't have money, they're in debt, or their jobs are paying very minimal, they have no money to buy other expenses, so they can't give back to the economy. And that's one point. I'm gonna give 3 points which are important, so that's the first point. Second point is losses in social security funding. To this date, it's around $6.8 billion less than what we had before. And the last point is 18, 23-year-olds are actually moving back home after graduation, live with the parents. Myself, I'm sure some of you are like that as well, just to save some money as well. And I researched that if you own your own house, you get one household in the economy. So basically, each person that lives at home, they're giving up around $145,000 for economic impact. Life example, my sister went to Baylor Dental School. Dental school is expensive, so she took out a lot of student loans. She had to live at home, so she was driving to school for like 40 minutes to an hour every single day, there and back. And even after she found a job in the dental industry, with all the student loans incurred and debt incurred during college, she probably has like a lot of years just to pay off as well. So I'm gonna summarize the first article, the second article, kind of help you out with the quiz. The first point, Jane Cho talked about the Fair Pay campaign. You have to know the 3 major points. It's paid with minimum wage at least. Second is educational. They want the interns to learn something from the field, not just bring donuts or coffee to the people. And lastly, it's going to advertise openly. They want everyone to be open for internships, not just the people who know the right people as well. So on the second article, ages 18-24 are 10% less likely to have jobs compared to people in the past decade. Also, the economic ripple I talked about, I'm gonna rephrase the 3 points just in case y'all missed or I went too fast. The first one is people don't have enough money to buy other stuff to give back to the economy. Second is there's less social security funding. And third is people are moving back home to live with their parents, therefore they're not buying houses to give back to the economy as well. Also, universities, they cut their fundings, which led to increase of tuition, which also leads to more and more debt. And last but not least, what Jane Kim said, millennials under the age of 25 and under, around 18.1% of them are idling, and idling, of course, means they're not going to school anymore or they're not going to work anymore as well. Here's our quiz.
Will one of you read the quiz questions, please? Just read it out loud.
One, millennials 25 years and under are blank, which means they are neither searching for jobs nor attending school. Second question, universities have blank funding for students for higher education. This in return had blank tuition costs, which led to more and more debt incurred for tuition. Three, between the ages of blank and blank are nearly 10% less likely to have a job now than they were a decade ago. Four, describe two examples on how